Welcome back to the Capes and Tights podcast right here at capesandtights.com. I'm Justin Soderberg, and this is my wife, Taylor Soderberg. So, what I like to start off with this episode here is we've done them in the past. People have heard you on here before. So, this is my wife. She's not a huge Marvel. She's not a Marvel fan. I hate to say that. Like,
I'm a Marvel fan. I'm just not a
you don't mind Marvel movies.
okay.
You're not
I'm a Marvel movie fan. Let me rephrase that. Marvel movie fan.
You're not like, I am the one making you go see this movie. Not making you, but like I'm the one that's like, let's take off time of work on Thursday of this release of this third movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, to go see it.
True. I have my foot in. How about that? I agree to that.
My point is that it is not like you're my co-host
No.
on this podcast because you're humongous into Marvel and that's why you're here and so on and so forth. But when we talked to Paul, when we went to that comic book show, Paul's a huge comic book fan. When I have guests on here, it's because they're huge comic book fans. You're here because you like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
My wife Taylor. We've been married for a couple of years now. What, going on 3 years? This August,
yes.
3 years. We're coming right up on the 5th anniversary of the day we met. So if you're here in April, and we have gonna be 2-year-old son named Nova, which is part of the reason why there's a Nova comic book behind us on the wall. If you're watching this, but Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, was the first movie that the two of us sat down together after we started seeing each other and was like, I'm huge into Marvel. Watch this movie with me. And it was because it was so much different, I think, than other superhero movies.
Yeah, I have a problem. I like to be grounded in reality in some form or fashion. And you see the trailers for Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's not that. And it's a great movie, and I turned out liked it more than I thought I would. But no, you've stepped over the threshold because like,
well, I think
Thor is rooted in mythology, so I got behind that. But like, talking raccoons with no backstory to it kind of threw me off.
Well, I think no one really knew when Guardians of the Galaxy #1 came out in 2014. There wasn't a large group of people who even knew who they were in the first place. So it's not like people were out there clamoring for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. People were like, this is kind of cool. And James Gunn had done a couple of things in Hollywood, but not much. And people were like looking forward to a new Marvel movie because of the success of the previous Marvel movies. But I don't think people were like, oh my gosh, Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was a swing like there was. I think Adam and I talked to on the podcast about how Iron Man was a massive swing for Marvel to be that first movie to release because people weren't really clamoring for an Iron Man movie either at the time.
Was it like your Spider-Man movie?
Correct.
Yes.
Or a Fantastic Four movie or something like that. People were clamoring for that. And I don't think people were clamoring for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So a lot of people out there were like,
why?
this is different. This is weird. Also, I feel like it's benefited Guardians of the Galaxy in the sense that they didn't have to worry about people having known the story or comparing it to the story because no one really knew what the actual story was supposed to be in the first place. I think going into it, you're like going into it as a raw movie. You're going into it seeing any recent movie or TV show that we've done. We just watched that. Was it Night Agent?
Oh my god! Don't get me started. That was amazing.
It's based on a book, but we didn't see the book, so.
I know. I wish I read the book first. Well, I don't know if I wish I did. I think I'll read the book.
Any preconceived notion?
No.
Like let's watch the show. It looks cool. People said it's cool.
I barely listened to your description of it. And I was like, sure, let's watch it.
And so that's I think part of it. One of the reasons why Guardians of the Galaxy was not just a thing for you to be like, cool, let's watch this, but also I think why it did so well in the first place, and why it immediately clamored for a second one, and they were gonna make a third one almost immediately as well, but there was that whole snafu with James Gunn getting fired from Marvel and Disney, and then be rehired and so on and so forth. So I'll get into that a little later. So I guess we'll talk on this episode of the podcast really about the Guardians of the Galaxy as a whole, the first two movies, what's coming up with the third, and discuss a tiny bit about the holiday special if we can remember it that week. Actually, that's not one of the ones we rewatched for this episode.
So. No, but I do remember my reservations about it and what I liked about it.
And so on. So so we'll jump into that and do a lot of that stuff here right on the podcast. But before we continue on any further, if anybody wants to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as go to Spotify and Apple, and subscribe, rate, and review, and all this stuff. And there's a lot of stuff over at caseyandtights.com, so check that out. But Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out in 2014. It was the, I love little notes here on the screen here for you to see there, Taylor. It was only the fourth film in phase 2 and the 10th film overall. So you had your Hulk, your Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, your Avengers movies, your second Iron Man movie. All those movies are right around the time that came out before that. So again, big tentpole style comic book character movies. And then all of a sudden there's this ensemble movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, with people with a talking raccoon and a tree that says I am Groot, and that's all that says, and so on and so forth. So it was pretty crazy. It was made for $232 million, and it brought in $750 million.
Yeah.
So like it did well, obviously, and I think that's again part of the success of the 9 movies that had before it.
Yeah, I think if we started with this, it might have taken a little bit longer.
The second movie, again, we'll get into nitty gritty details of what we want to talk about for each movie here in a second. But the second movie came out 3 years later, May 5th, which is funny to think about that the dropping of this movie, the third one, I should say, comes out May 5th, 6 years later.
That's a good point.
So it's pretty cool.
And it's funny to see that they did it in a cheaper budget. But you could see by the style of the movie, you see why. But
$100 million for the first movie as well. The first movie and the second movie both directed by James Gunn. The first one, he had co-writer Nicole Perlman with him, but the second movie, the third movie, and the holiday special were all written by James Gunn fully. It was the third film of phase 3 and the 15th movie overall. And this is the point that I think, again, trying to get across is the fact that it came out in 2014, and then 5 movies later, the sequel happened. Okay? Now, as we get into the third movie that we'll talk about at some point, it's going to come out May 5th, 2023.
Yes.
So 6 years later. It is the second film of phase 5, the 32nd film in the MCU. Okay? So it's the 42nd MCU project. So you're talking about your TV shows that have been on Disney Plus and your holiday or your specials like the holiday special Werewolf by Night. The first 2 movies had 4 movies in between that.
Well, Marvel kind of like full speed ahead.
Had 27 projects in between.
Yeah.
So the question a lot of people had was the love for the first 2 movies and the momentum those first 2 movies had technically. Is that going to continue on for the third film coming here up in the weeks? We'll see. But it's just kind of funny to think about. Yes, I know Marvel did speed up and stuff like that, but there is a longer gap than they probably wanted to.
It's true, but I don't know. People are waiting for, like after the last phase ending, people are like, what's next? And they're kind of nervous. So I don't know if people are like ready for a nice, great one per se.
You and I were supposed to record this a couple weeks ago, and then we have a kid again. Obviously, we were supposed to record at lunchtime today, or right after lunchtime today when our son was sleeping, but he didn't want a nap. And so if you see Taylor yawn, or hear her yawn on the microphone, just forget about it. We have a 2-year-old.
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to, but speaking about it, it's going to make me yawn too.
In the meantime, one of the benefits I saw about this, I just saw that the direct.com posted a article just recently tonight about initial reactions for critics.
Oh, really?
They're all great. Every single one of them says the new third movie is dark, it's emotional, it's brilliant, it's the best movie since Endgame. So
well, I want to pretend like I didn't hear that because I want to go in my own. I don't want to be all hyped up, but after Thor, Love and Thunder, they need to redeem their not sequel movies. You know what I mean? And trilogies are known for flopping, so you kind of got to break that spell.
We'll see. But I guess my point earlier about you not being a Marvel fan and talking into this and so on and so forth is, was your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe or Marvel movie in general prior to Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2? One of the 2. Was that your favorite one out of all of them? Because we watched it a couple times.
Wait, what do you mean? Like
if someone said to you, if Thor Ragnarok had not come out, because that's your favorite Marvel, right?
Yeah, but then I forgot what order they came out. I thought I saw that. So I saw that after the fact. Okay. Would it be?
Would Guardians of the Galaxy 1? Which one do you like better? Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2?
After rewatching them, I gotta say 2. For a while I thought it was 1, but for some reason the 2, I love the whole concept of ego. I know the one is really good in the sense of there's more going on, but I don't know. I feel like number 2 kind of has a sweet spot.
So again, forget Ragnarok. Because we know you've been on before, we talked Thor before, you talked Ragnarok before, we talked Marvel movies before, we've been on the last couple of times. Forget Ragnarok. Is Guardians of the Galaxy 2 your favorite Marvel movie after that? Or is it Endgame or anything like that? Like, I'm just putting on the spot here. We didn't talk about this.
No, and I'm trying to remember my list because we rewatched them all. I wish we had that up. I gotta say it must be. I'm trying to think of any at the very least next. I can't think of anything for that.
So we haven't done our updated list in a long time. We haven't posted anything here in a long time either, but
No.
we do have a post here somewhere. I'm looking that up right now. I could have sworn that was up here.
Let's see. Don't tell me you lost it.
So you do have it third. So Endgame on your ranking was the best.
Really? Okay.
Here's part of the thing about that though is we literally did this like not long after Endgame.
Okay.
There is this recent movie.
Yeah, look at number 2 on my list. It's way farther down.
Second 2020. So this is like 2019 when the summer of 2019 is when
yeah, we have a few more movies I need to update with mine, but
so you did have Guardians of the Galaxy higher than Guardians.
Oh, there's Avengers. I think Avengers. Far From It was good too.
So I guess my point is, it is one of your favorite.
Yeah,
2 movies.
I mean, it's a top half for sure.
Is one of your favorite, and honestly, in the end of this, once we get to the point where we see Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I would probably think if I said, "Hey, what's your favorite trilogy or what's your favorite movie series of the MCU?"
You would say Guardians.
And I think there's a mixture in that. You're big into the music of it.
Yeah, I know the soundtrack alone. I'm worried about the next soundtrack.
Which you can only do so much. You can only go so far. You can only nail a soundtrack so many times.
Well, it like would be too cliche. Like Thor Ragnarok, I feel like had tried to be that and failed at that. Not Thor Ragnarok. Thor Love and Thunder failed at that because I'm like, oh, this has the same vibe as Guardians of the Galaxy. But no, the soundtrack. We both have the record. We have both records. If we're in a car ride and we need some music, hands down, let's throw it into the loop.
I think that's what happens. So when we watched them again recently, is it's apparent from the very beginning that music is going to be a big part of these movies. It's like when they're talking to Peter Quill as a young kid and he's in the hospital, his mom is dying. Like immediately, the music playing is cool music. There's the tape given to Chris Pratt from his mom, to play and so on and so forth. Like it's apparent that James Gunn directing and writing this movie is going to use music as a big part of it, and then it's apparent throughout the rest of the first movie, and then the second movie, same thing. And
the second went seamlessly, like it felt like it fit. So I'm excited and worried for the third one.
So speaking of the first movie, like the way they set up and introduced the characters, them not getting along the first time, like the group of Guardians of the Galaxy, you're thinking like the Avengers when the Avengers came together the first time. Like some of them got along, some of them were making fun of each other, some of them like this is not gonna work. The same thing really kind of happened. It was like Groot and Rocket had their own agenda, and Star-Lord had his own agenda, and then obviously Gamora is trying to attack Rocket and Groot and all that.
Yes.
And so and then Drax is just trying to get back at Thanos, at Ronan.
The group of misfits with different agendas.
And then they have to work together to make this work. And in the end, the love story of a family coming together, to quote Vin Diesel in Fast and the Furious, family. It is the family, really. Guardians of the Galaxy becomes a family, and you see that going to the second movie. And I think that's why people are such excited for this third movie, because it feels like it's going to be touching to the point where you're talking about a third movie together, like wrapping it all together. This is a family. It's going to be a
There are rumors that Star-Lord died.
Well, personally, I think I was talking to Paul about this as well at the comic book shop. Was it almost thinks they should.
I wouldn't cry over it.
Think about characters that you could get rid of in a sense that makes most sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chris Pratt, as it is a busy man. I mean, he's got tons of movies to be doing. Do we need Star-Lord to move forward? Like, is Star-Lord a necessary character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Not really.
No.
Other characters, do they have as much weight if they die? It's like, is Rocket dying? Yes, it'd be sad, but like he's kind of an a-hole. But like, is he in the other movies? Is he going to get attached to anything else that makes any sense?
Yeah.
Gamora has already died, so like, her dying again is not like
doesn't held the weight. You're right.
Groot has again basically died.
You can't do that for Groot.
And Drax, like, yeah, if he dies, it's great. It's crazy, but it's like he's still not a main character. So the most impactful death in this movie would be Star-Lord.
Yes.
Do you need to kill him? No.
No.
Do you need them just to retire off and stop doing this stuff? And I think this movie they need to basically say this iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy, because in the comic books, as you probably don't know, there's many iterations of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And so this iteration of Guardians of the Galaxy needs to no longer exist. They need to break up. They need to do something that just makes it so that they're not this group anymore. Because James Gunn is leaving the Marvel universe. And so I don't want someone else writing.
No.
This. I think it's what it is. So we'll see how it's impactful with this. But like, because obviously the first group from the first movie to the second movie aren't the same. Because you had Mantis and Gamora dies, obviously, in the Endgame movies.
Yeah.
Or the Avengers movies. So there is some morphing in it as it is. But like, I don't know. Star-Lord dying would be crazy, but I think necessary. Or not necessary, but
it makes sense.
It carried an impactful weight to the future of Marvel. And like, I think some of the complaints some people have is like deaths don't mean anything because they keep bringing people back. Like Loki's dead every time.
Yeah, but Loki's Loki. Iron Man hasn't come back. Black Widow hasn't come back.
As of now,
they're not going to do that.
So part of the problem is we live in a world of comic books where they kill people off all the time in comic books and they bring them back later on because they have to write more comic books and make more comic books.
It's true.
But Chris Pratt is great along the whole thing. He carries these movies really well to a person who really wasn't anybody when he was in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, like he did great. I don't know. I'm not a huge Chris Pratt fan. Like he's a solid actor. There we go.
I just think he did a great job with the whole character and so on and so forth. But again, I think it's one of the things that Marvel has successfully done, and we've talked about this with Ragnarok and other movies, which is like casting someone who's not really anybody or someone who people don't want to touch in Hollywood, like Robert Downey Jr. at the beginning.
Yeah,
is they've done it and then they'll either rehab a character or create a character, or rehab a actor or actress, or create an actor or actor or actress, and have them springboarded into other things because he was in the Parks and Rec.
Yeah, like I like how they had Bradley Cooper, like a pretty popular person, be a voice for just a raccoon.
And Zoe Saldana, whatever her name is, Zoe Saldana. Dave Bautista are all people, but I'm just saying like
Vin Diesel
is Chris Pratt, and he is again somebody. Parks and Rec was a popular show, people liked it. I just think that they made him basically into what he is now because of that.
Did you know the Rocket the raccoon was obviously CGI, but modeled after James Gunn's brother?
I don't know. Oh, he does the
I mean, obviously he plays a part on there, but he's also did. Yeah. So he was two characters.
Yeah.
I mean, they did use a little bit of Bradley Cooper on it too, but I didn't know that. That was funny.
And I talked to Paul about this. I don't see or hear, Bradley Cooper
at all now.
In the I don't like when I watch him, I'm like, oh, that's Bradley Cooper. You have to if you close your eyes and you're in the right moment and all that stuff, maybe.
No, I was surprised to find it out. It was him.
But Drax's humor is great. I think the tension between Gamora and Chris Pratt or Star-Lord is great. I think Rocket Raccoon's jokes are great. I just think the whole team works together as a great group, and I think that's why the first movie was successful, because there was that comedy in it, but also there was sadness in it. There was action, drama, all that in one thing. And there wasn't one main star. It was Star Wars, a group of people.
Yes.
And so that's why I think I liked the movie in the first place. Again, I think it was also because there was no preconceived notions for me. Because as a comic book fan, I wasn't even a big, humongous, like, I know the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to go in here knowing exactly what's going to happen. I was a big Ronan. I knew, which was the villain.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, Ronan. I knew he was the villain, and then Thanos.
Oh, for villains. Yes.
I knew those two massively in the comic books, but other than that, I don't know. I barely even knew the Collector, honestly. He wasn't a humongous character in the comic books either.
Yeah.
But so really the biggest thing about the first movie is the music, the comedy, the ensemble characters, and so on and so forth. And to be able to mimic that and make a second movie that was just as good, if not better, for some people.
Yeah, I do want to note that the worlds and creating characters and civilizations is actually really creative and I think really well done. Some are very, like, you see some movies and like it doesn't play off very well. What?
No, That's not out of my head, but yeah, continue. Sorry.
No, I'm good.
Rotten Tomatoes had the first one at 92, both critics and audience, whereas Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 was 85 to 87. So again,
I
pretty
could
much the
see why
same.
people like the first one better. I think I just felt like that, like the idea of ego was just very
But I
clever in
think
my
my
opinion.
biggest point is the fact that they're basically the same between critics and audience. So like
Oh,
you
yeah.
normally would see,
Opposite.
yeah, or opposite, or such a drastic difference. The
Yes.
audience loved it, but the uh, critics didn't, and so on and so forth. So I think that having it be such similar scores between the two of them is this thing is a quality movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
It's a
it's
good
pretty cool.
sign.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, to see them be able to mimic it with movie two was pretty crazy. And actually have a successful movie 4 movies later, basically making the exact same movie. And I think it kicked up. I think both the first movie kicked off the idea that like music was gonna be a big part. This is who Chris Pratt's character is as Star Lord with his mom and all that stuff. But the second movie with the whole trying to fight off that monster and the music
The
playing,
beginning of it,
yeah,
I was, yes.
and like Groot being like Drax is like, or Rocket's like trying to get music going and like, oh yeah, Star Lord, or he knows that the music needs to be played. And he's like, no, actually, I side with Groot on this. Like, why are you doing Drax with this? Why are you playing the music? This is stupid. We have the monster gear. And he goes, no, I gotta have tunes. And then biggest thing to me is the baby Groot running around and dancing and doing all the things and like trying to get the bug and all that stuff. That's
I know. I feel like when people make baby characters, it's kind of like a cop out for cuteness.
yeah,
But I mean, Groot's epitome of like one of the better baby characters
yes.
because you have like Baby Yoda, but you don't have many baby things in the Marvel universe in the sense of movie wise.
I'm a big Star Wars fan too, but like I will say that Baby Groot was before Baby Yoda. We'll take credit for the baby cuteness of the babies over here at Marvel. And then before we go too far into the second movie, the big thing to me was the fact that we saw the Thanos, a picture of Thanos, a video of Thanos in the first movie, which was like our first real like in movie like experience of what we were gonna get for Infinity
Yeah,
War.
there's a little bit of, like Easter eggs or
Yeah,
previews to what
so
the
it was pretty cool. But
faces would be.
the first movie was they had the emotion at the end there with Groot like saving everybody by putting the bubble around them and the explosion, and you get a glimpse that we now know what we want to see in the second movie. We foreshadowing to the second movie with Star Lord holding on to the Infinity Stone and not
Yes.
dying, and knowing that he's not fully human, and so on, Terran, and so on and so forth. So you see all these things. So it was emotional, but not nearly, I think, as emotional as the second movie is.
Not at
I think
all.
it's funny in the second movie. They have great humor. Excuse me, great
The
action,
ending.
but there's that emotion between both finding his excuse me, finding his father,
Mm-hmm.
um, finding out his father's a pile of crap, uh, uh, Yondu,
Yeah.
Yondu death, all that stuff is massively emotional in the second movie, but they still were able to capture comedy. They were still able to capture action, all that stuff all in one. And I think that proves how much of a great filmmaker James Gunn is, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean both the movies. I'm told Justin I don't like unnecessary shooting. Like I don't like just like killing random people for just because you want to shoot on a movie. So they did good fighting scenes, I feel. And I like the whole like they weren't actually manning the ship. That's pretty clever
Yes.
for the gold people.
Yes. That's where we get in the third movie will be Adam Warlock, who was created in this movie. And so you see in the post-credit scene, he's now one of the main characters in the third movie as well. So, but yeah, they're all manning like video game style, VR style, manning ships.
It makes sense because like why would you waste these important people?
But like this, that the fact that there's like this, you just got this big battle between these people, and the ship and the Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's still comedy by like Rocket being like,
Artillery battery.
it's that Harper Larry batteries, and my favorite one of my favorite jokes in the movie is when Rocket sees Ego on top of the ship.
The little
It's like
man.
a little 1-inch man. It's like, well, when he gets closer, he's probably gonna get bigger. Like that's the kind of funny, like it's like funny, but it's not like riffing jokes all the time. It's like it's timing, it's the writing, and it's great. So like again, and James Gunn nailing the first movie and the second movie, the holiday special. I'm probably gonna nail this because you also nailed Peacemaker. You also nailed the Suicide Squad and so on too.
I feel like the holiday special was good, but it was flat. I feel like there was really no purpose.
There's
the plot. It didn't follow the typical, not plot line, the story arc. You're in like third grade and they tell you your story needs to follow these points. It didn't have that. I mean, Kevin Bacon, they're like, well, let's just have fun with Kevin Bacon and
so,
shoot it.
While we might as well grab some stuff on the holiday special while you say that. So one of the things that James Gunn has mentioned in interviews and things like that has been that his whole goal and the whole amazing part having the holiday special is just be a prologue, intro.
Is it a beginning or ending?
Beginning.
Okay, then it's
prelude.
Prelude sounds right.
To Guardians 3. Meaning that
really
the availability to give you to what happened in Guardians 2, Endgame, Infinity War Endgame, I should say. What happened in those movies, what happened in Love and Thunder, all that stuff. Even though Love and Thunder was after, right? No, Love and Thunder came out last
June, July.
No, last
July.
Last May, because it was my birthday.
Okay.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Last year. Yeah, so it was that. So it was basically you saw the end of Guardians 2, Infinity War and Endgame featured some of the characters, obviously. And then you see them in Love and Thunder.
Yep.
The beginning of Love and Thunder. How do we get from those things to the beginning of Guardians 3? And part of it was it'd be fun to do a holiday special because, first of all, again, music.
Yes.
We'll get into that in a second.
Oh, yes.
Way to prelude the third movie without taking time out of the third movie. Instead of making the third movie 3.5 hours long, they can now make it 2 hours and 40 minutes long and give you 45 minutes of a holiday special that gets you from the end or where they are at the end of Love and Thunder or beginning of Love and Thunder to.
That's a good point. I mean, I didn't hold much weight to it because it was just a holiday special. People do them all the time. But you're right. It does have a purpose in the grand scheme of things.
And so you find some things, and I feel like at this point, this holiday special was only back in November, and we're now in April. So I feel like we shouldn't spoil too much about it. We can obviously say spoilers right now if you haven't seen it, but there's some things that happen towards the very end, which I don't want to talk about.
I don't remember at this point either.
They leave off the characters at the very end of the holiday special, which I think that's what he was talking about, like the end of the holiday special to the beginning of Guardians 3. Like there's a transition there that leads it jumps us into the movie, allowing him to be like, you open the third movie and you're like,
got it,
instead of having to be like, and so previously in Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing. And so yeah, the music though was freaking.
There's one song I'm pretty sure I listen to repeat all Christmas long.
And Kevin Bacon was in it, which is kind of funny. Like I don't think you would have put Kevin Bacon in a feature film and had the same weight as it did for that holiday special because it was a gag in a sense.
Yeah, it was kind of yes.
And so there's this fun thing about holiday specials. It was far better than the Star Wars holiday special years ago. So there's that. But I guess like you said, it's more of a bumper between trying to get characters from point A to point B, and point A to point C, I should say. And this is B, the point along the way, which was the Guardians holiday special. So yeah, so this is the fourth technical project in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Will be the third movie coming out here on May 5th. But 2 feature films, holiday special, which was about 45 minutes, and now a third feature film. You just look at the song?
I was trying to find it. I can't remember. I liked it somewhere on Spotify. Give me a second.
Type in Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on there.
Looks like it might be my Christmas folder.
So yeah, so a lot of the characters came back for the second movie. We see the death of Michael Rooker's character Yondu. He actually shows up again in the holiday special, but in a weird like flashback kind of way. Kevin Bacon was in the holiday special. I just mentioned that.
I don't know what Christmas is.
Yes. Great song. And we did a review of the holiday special on this podcast, so check that out on that episode because the intro music, I believe, is that music on that special.
That sounds like something you'd do.
It was the second special after We Were Off by Night, which was a hit as well. So there's 2 back-to-back holiday or special presentations from Marvel that kick butt. Again, May 5th is the release of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It is written and directed by James Gunn. Again, it is the second film in Phase 5, 32nd film overall, 42nd project overall, 17th film gap between the 2 movies, movies 2 and movies 3, and 27 projects in between that. What I wanted to do, I had it open on here, is the Guardians 3. There was a synopsis. So in Guardians 3, The Guardians of the Galaxy are adjusting to life on Nowhere when parts of rockets pass resurface. In order to protect them, Peter Quill must lead the Guardians of the Galaxy on a dangerous mission that could lead the team to dissolve it. So that was the whole thing. So they're not going to be the team at the end. We can tell by this right now, by the description of it.
A dog on the cover. Okay.
Chris Pratt returns. Zoe Saldana, David Bautista, Karen Gillan, Palm. I commented off who looks completely different in real life as she does Mantis.
Oh, I was like, who is that? Yeah, it looks like the eyes.
Bill Bradley Cooper, Sean Gunn, and again, Chuck Woody, Yuji, I can never say his name, is a high evolutionary. Will Poulter comes in as Adam Warlock. I know that. Elizabeth Debicki, who is the gold lady. I forget again.
Oh, yes.
She's in it. Maria Bakalova. That's what it was. Maria Bakalova is Cosmo the Space Dog. He's from the comics. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Was it a she now?
2-1 when they were at the collector's building.
Yeah, I thought that was a nod to when you launch.
No,
not Luna. It's is it Luna? Launch a dog into space.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if it's Luna or not, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
but that no, it's Cosmo the Space Dog.
Oh, I thought it was like a nod to they caught a dog in space.
Cosmo the Space Dog's first appearance ever.
Is it in a Nova comic book?
It is in a Nova.
Of course it is.
And Sylvester Stallone returns obviously as part of the Ravagers, as well as so that in the film the Guardians embark on a mission to protect Rutherford, who's played by Bradley Cooper. So yes, Cosmo the Space Dog is new. Adam Warlock is new, and then I never say his name. I think it's a Nigerian British actor. We could listen to it right now. Chuck Woody Iwuji.
We'll call him Chuck.
Who plays the High Evolutionary, who's another new character. So we have a few new characters being introduced in this third film. Again, May 5th, 2023 at the theaters around the world. Sean Gunn was supposed to come to the main comic Toy Con on the 27th, 28th, 29th.
I know.
Or whatever, he had to cancel because the premiere is at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, California on 27th, which is the day before the convention.
The funny thing is, like, the one thing I was looking forward to Comic-Con was seeing him.
Sean Gunn, he plays Cragman in this movie as well. So what did it say right here? 150 minutes. That's 2 hours and 30 minutes. So it's not bad at all. I'll take that. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be captivating, emotional, all that stuff, which you're looking forward to. We are traditionally now, and this is our thing now, right?
We're turning into very old people.
No, it's a traditional thing, I think, for us now is because there's not as many movies. It's not like we go see every new movie in the theater. We basically see Marvel movies in the theater.
Yeah, it's got to be a pretty big movie for us to go see it.
I'll want to go see. Well, I've discussed this, but I think I want to go see Indiana Jones when that comes out this summer in the theaters. But other than that, I think it's basically been Marvel movies in the theater.
What about the Barbie one?
And so what we tend to do now is do the Thursday preview night, which is the day before.
Yes.
We go at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that way we have the ability to work a little early, have our son be daycared for a little bit longer, pick him up, come home, and then we'll probably discuss the movie over dinner. And
yeah, I usually like to have dinner after so we can talk about it, but we might have to have dinner before or lunch before. But no, it's such a pretty good setup. We don't like getting out of movies late.
It's nice to be able to see that we're basically we live in the Bangor main area, and we're the first people in the area to see it, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
I was just thinking about that and so on. So like we'll be able to see this, and then obviously in November-ish we'll go see the Marvels when that comes out.
Yes.
Excited for that one. It looks better than Captain Marvel.
Said that. Yes. I'm just not a big fan of Captain Marvel. I don't know. There's a lot. Don't get me started.
So this is interesting. So James Gunn is the last Marvel movie he'll be doing, at least for the foreseeable future. He's now.
Well, so out of all of them, I can't remember how many has he done. He's done
every single thing that's in Guardians of the Galaxy. So Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, the holiday special, and this. And he did.
I mean, like what compared to the other Marvel movies.
He's done the most.
I don't care what most movies, but which ones have he done?
Guardians 1, Guardians 2.
I know the Guardians. That's it. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't know how much of a whole.
No, he's just he's a filmmaker that makes these movies, basically.
And it's kind of a niche.
Marvel and DC. Sorry, Marvel and Disney. He went over and did the Suicide Squad for DC. So the second.
Yes.
I liked a lot. And then he did Peacemaker.
You like the second one?
Yeah.
Is that the one with the weird squid? Yeah. No, I know what I'm talking about. Your
Star one?
what?
Like Starfish?
Oh, yes. Yeah. No, that was so fucking weird.
And then Peacemaker a lot. I like Peacemaker a lot. And
yeah, I know you do. That's a man's movie.
Peacemaker, speaking of that, episode 100 with Kyle Starks.
Yes.
On the podcast. He's writing a comic book that comes out May 2nd from DC Comics or DC Black Label called Peacemaker Tries Harder. And it's basically a continuation of the character created by James Gunn, the version of Peacemaker that James Gunn did for the TV show in comic book form, which is pretty cool. So it's a comedy. It's a little more
okay.
So now James Gunn is now an executive over at DC Studios, so he's going over to do that stuff. His next movie will be releasing Superman Legacy.
Okay.
So
it
was sad to lose James.
Yes, I'm just curious if
we're excited on that. So
don't look at the music.
You already know that. I've played it.
I know, but I want to forget and be surprised again.
Projected to make 155 million dollars in the 3-day opening weekend, 288 to 403 for the total box office, which is
they're average what they expected for the last few, which is
I would
reasonable.
Should make at least 750,000. Yeah, I'm gonna put money on that one. Should make at least 750 million, which is what the first movie made, and I have it projected to make close to $1 billion. The final movie, and what's gonna make that money is critics talk between now and next week, now and May 5th.
Yeah,
because the critics talk.
Well, what is it up against? What else movies are being out at that time?
Don't know. I don't know.
It's unlike you to not know.
I don't know. But it doesn't really matter in that sense. As long as if the critics say it's a good movie, then people go see it for some reason. If they say it's a bad movie, they won't go see it, even though people should have the opinion for themselves.
Yeah, and then they'll just watch.
So they don't think this movie or not. Just go see the movie. Watch the movie at home on Disney Plus.
Well, yeah, I think that's what people are gonna end up doing if they get bad reviews, and then they'll decide then if it's a good movie.
Release calendar. We're looking at this up live on our recording here. It'll be May 5th. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 comes out. What's love got to do with it?
We're gonna go see that one after. We're gonna do it
again. This is us.
Oh wait, no, Love Again with the.
Oh, that's
the Jonah.
The TV show. There's some TV shows coming out. So really nothing. The weekend before, it's Moon's Day. No, there's nothing really. They're not up against anything else.
Okay. Oh wait, no. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. My mom wanted to go see that.
So and then the following, so they'll have that weekend, no problem. The following weekend is Ben Affleck has a new movie called Hypnotic.
That seems pretty good. The book club's probably good too.
Yeah, I mean, looking this up online. May 15th. And past that. So the only thing that I'll have in May that will really be a contributing factor to them not making money is Fast X, which is a couple weeks later. So they'll have a good couple weeks in a row, at least.
Oh yeah.
But
no, it's pretty slow. Spring.
But yeah, so it's exciting. We will tell you right now that our rankings, there was
we need to update them.
Old, but our rankings have Guardians of the Galaxy at my number 4, and Guardians number 12. Galaxy 2 is number 12. It was number 3 and number 6. Again, it's 3 years old. There's good movies that come out since that.
Yeah, no, I know we need to update that.
Did I say there was now 32 movies.
Yeah,
we only have 23 on this.
I'll have to get working on that. It's unlike us.
But yeah, so that says that they're both basically top 15 movies for us, top 10 movies for us, and so go see those before you go see the movie because it won't make any sense honestly if you see number 3 without seeing number 2, 1, and 2.
Yep.
Watch the holiday special. I think it's worth it. It's only 45 minutes long.
It's cute. I wasn't saying it was bad. It was a holiday special.
And then go see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 in theaters. And you know what? This James Gunn going over to DC might make me a DC fan. So
no,
still have to make more bins.
No.
For DC Comics.
What you got for space is what you got.
I think over there.
No.
It's a perfectly good table I can use over there.
Nope. Not if you want your pants fixed.
Why not? Oh, again. Because he did such a great job the first time.
No, don't buy some shitty pants.
They're American Eagle.
Those are American Eagle
Yeah,
ones?
they're the jeans you bought me, technically. So don't
I buy you
that.
tan American Eagle jeans.
Ah.
It's okay. I like the other colors better.
So you think that you'd recommend anybody? So here's my final kind of closing this out kind of thing is, if you're not a superhero movie fan, will you, as someone who's not a huge superhero fan, would you say that you'd recommend this to someone who's not a superhero fan? Like, I don't like superhero movies.
Yes, I've been pushing my coworker Carly to watch it. I mean, I think alone just for the soundtrack, and she's like, I don't like the type of movies, with some people like the talking animals, the CGI stuff, but I think it's worth it.
Okay. So
I know, and I'm the type of person that I like to be rooted in reality of some form or fashion, but I thought they were worth seeing.
Yeah, so that non-superhero fans would like this movie. Superhero fans would also love this movie. Marvel fans, non-Marvel fans. And I think the biggest thing to me is that, again, I think out of all of the Marvel movies that we've seen out there right now, every movie that's been out, the 30 some odd movies that have been out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, TV shows, all that stuff, this is the one based on the characters that people were still to this day are who the hell are these characters? Do you know what I mean? So everything else has come out has been it's the Shang-Chi, I guess, somewhat. Some of those ones that have been the Eternals to some people, but at least those characters were created by and cared about for a while. Whereas the Guardians of the Galaxy were just kind of and they've been going on ever since. And then there's a new Guardians of the Galaxy book that just came out last week. There's a picture behind you, Scotty Young had it one.
Well, I mean, the critics show, you look at their ratings, the past critics and the audience really show that it's just solid. It does what a movie is supposed to do, entertain you for that time period. We don't expect it to be this long lasting imprint, which some of it is, but it does its job.
Did you do your job here today?
I like to think I did.
Will you think you'll be invited back?
Yes.
Just because I absolutely need you on a crunch, or do you think I would invite you back?
I think you'd invite me back.
Think so?
For certain things.
Maybe we should do initial reactions after the first movie. After this movie, I mean.
Sure.
Spoiler free, though, because I hate spoilers.
Spoiler free?
Oh, okay. Did you like the movie?
Can I be like Owen Wilson? Wow. Wow, hold our time, home podcast. And then you'd never invite me back.
If you want a really good review and discussion podcast episode ever, one of the best ones we've ever done on the over 100 podcast episodes, is check out our National Treasure bonus episode. We talk the National Treasure movies.
These are elite podcasts. Podcasting right there.
It's a better podcast than Paul and I had in New Hampshire. So
yeah, I'm surprised you aired that one. He called me after. He was like, yeah, you don't want to listen to it. I'm like, what, did you trash talk me the whole entire time? What did you do? And he's like, no, we just complained about people and went off topic. And I'm like, oh, and then expect him to post it.
This is episode 99. 100 turned a new leaf over. We have new intro music. It's just great. So new graphics. It's just great. So
it's great.
It's great.
It's great.
So check out capesandtights.com for way more information about all the different things coming out there. We have a couple of articles that came out, features that came out recently of what to watch prior to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, as well as a preview of who's in this movie, what's going on in this movie, and so on and so forth on the website as well. So check that out at capesandtights.com. Taylor Soderberg, welcome, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You sure?
Yeah. You don't regret it yet?
I regret it every time I say yes to having you on the podcast.
I thought you said you regret marrying me.
Well, that too, but thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you.
And I'm Justin S. Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Keep